Everyone remembers 2008's villains, two mortgage giants that nearly torched the economy. Now billionaire Bill Ackman, who built his fortune spotting financial time bombs and opportunities, says those same companies could become America's $300 billion escape hatch. While politicians argue about cutting Social Security or raising taxes to solve the looming debt crisis, Ackman points to something hiding in plain sight on the government's balance sheet, a one-line test that flips the entire debt debate on its head. Let's dive in.
We're going through, a time with very large government deficits, and it's not clear how we're going to work our way out of 36 trillion of debt. And I think Scott Bessent, to his credit, has said, look, we got to focus not just on our expense side, the liability side, we got to focus on the asset side. And the U.S. government today is the 80% shareholder and a preferred stockholder of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and these are two remarkable businesses.
The numbers they throw around are huge.
The government's interest in Fannie and Freddie is worth approaching $300 billion. The path to the government realizing the $300 billion is today these entities are in conservatorship, and conservatorship is, what is meant to be a temporary place where the government puts a financial institution that gets into trouble until it can recapitalize and emerge.
By the way, this temporary conservatorship is a generation old now?
Yeah, 16 years in or something like this. And Trump has been talking about, first starting with Secretary Mnuchin in his first term, and now I think they're going to finish the job, is the companies will come out of conservatorship, and they need to come out in a way that, of course, protects the 30-year mortgage and make sure that the cost of mortgages doesn't go up. But it can emerge in a way.
How do you prevent that? Because one of the raps against privatizing or changing the status quo is that mortgage rates are going to go up, the guarantee fees have to go up.
Ackman just pulled back the curtain on why the government might finally set Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac free. Washington is desperate. Deficits are huge, and they can't fill a $36 trillion hole by just cutting spending or issuing infinite new bonds. Instead, he says look at what Uncle Sam owns. The U.S. Treasury effectively owns 80% of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, two quietly profitable mortgage giants. Right now they're stuck in conservatorship, a fancy word for government custody, ever since they almost collapsed in 2008. They were supposed to be temporary wards of the state, but 16 years later, they're still in lockup. Here's what happened. Fannie and Freddie used to be private companies that buy up home loans and guarantee them. In 2008, when housing imploded, taxpayers saved them from bankruptcy. In return, the Treasury got preferred shares and warrants equal to 79.9% of their common stock. Since then, virtually all their profits have been flowing to the Treasury, about $20 billion a year. Dead money for regular investors, because if you own Fannie or Freddie common stock today, you don't see a dime of those earnings. So why would Uncle Sam ever give up that $20 billion annual stream? Because the one-time payday is far bigger, and Uncle Sam needs cash now. At recent estimates, that 80% stake could fetch around $300 billion. That's about 1/6 of the entire U.S. annual deficit. It won't fix the $36 trillion problem overnight, but it would be the Treasury's biggest single payday ever. And it avoids piling on even more debt. Now, one big fear is what happens to the housing market if these mortgage giants go private. Will 30-year fixed home loans get more expensive? Think about Sarah, who just locked in a 6.5% rate on her first home in Denver. If privatization spikes mortgage costs, millions of future Sarahs get priced out of the American dream. That's political suicide. Ackman hints that any release has to protect the 30-year mortgage. Policymakers know they can't send America's favorite mortgage into the stratosphere. President Trump explicitly said he'd maintain a government backstop even after spinning them off. That assurance can keep investor confidence high and mortgage rates low. Ackman has also floated merging Fannie and Freddie into one entity. A combined company could cut duplicate costs and possibly lower the fees they charge lenders. The bottom line is Washington won't sign off on a plan that spikes mortgage rates for Main Street. They need a win-win. But before we buy that rosy scenario, we have to address the elephant in the room. 2008. Many people still hear Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac and think of the subprime mortgage nightmare that nearly took down the economy. Why should anyone trust these institutions now? Ackman's answer: because they're not the same beasts anymore. He describes them like they've been rebuilt into Fort Knox. Notice the numbers he rattles off. They're the key to his confidence. Now let's hear Ackman explain why the math makes these companies safer than the government itself.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac today are vastly better capitalized than they were for the first 60 years of their existence. They were only required to hold 0.45% equity against their guarantees. And by the way, 0.45% would have been enough during the financial crisis had they not gotten into subprime, but it was still a thin level of capital. When they emerge from conservatorship, assuming they do, they'll emerge with at least 2.5% of equity relative to their guarantees. And if you think about their business, not a bank. People are confused by this. Fannie and Freddie's business is they buy conforming mortgages that meet a very safe standard, first mortgages on middle-class homes from creditworthy borrowers that are not that likely to default. And if they default, there's unlikely to be small losses. They buy those mortgages, they package them up in these trusts, and they sell securities backed by them, and they guarantee the securities. But the probability of default is very low on this kind of highly diversified, very safe collection of mortgages. And they collect a fee, a guarantee fee for doing this. So the protections they have against, their inability to meet the guarantee is, one, they start with a huge amount of capital. They're going to merge with a couple $100 billion of equity.
If they went private, would they still keep their line of credit with the Treasury?
Yeah.
Is what? How many hundreds of billions?
So they've got about $7 trillion of guarantees. And they have enormous cash flow that comes in from the 65 basis points per annum they charge on those guarantees. So if we went through another financial crisis, first they have to blow through all their equity. Then they have the benefit of almost $400 billion of the ability to call upon senior preferred stock from the government. And they also have this enormous earning power that continues even when they go through a challenging period. So there's a belt, there's suspenders, there's another belt, there's suspenders, there's a huge amount of equity. And then beyond that, because of the systemically important nature of Fannie and Freddie, they do have an implied government backstop.
Let's unpack what Ackman just said, because the math here is everything. Back in the day, these companies were undercapitalized. He mentions they only had 0.45% equity against their mortgage guarantees. Picture this. For every $100 of loans they guaranteed, they held just 45 cents in reserve. No wonder they crumpled when the real estate market collapsed. But going forward, regulators are demanding at least 2.5% equity. That's more than 5 times the buffer they had before. Here's a quick stress test. Say you have $100 of mortgages. Pre-2008, Fannie and Freddie held about 45 cents in reserve. If losses hit $1, they'd be 55 cents in the hole, insolvent. Now imagine having $2.50 in reserve for the same $100. A $1 loss would leave $1.50 of equity still standing. Losses would have to be more than 5 times worse than 2008 for these firms to run out of capital under the new rules. And government help is explicitly standing by. Ackman reminds us of the $400 billion credit line from the Treasury. Think of it as a second layer of protection. After burning through their new equity, they could pull in up to $400 billion of emergency funds. On a $7 trillion book of mortgages, that's another 5.7% of support. Add it up. About 2.5% hard capital plus 5.7% backup equals roughly an 8% total loss buffer. An 8% loss across a diversified prime mortgage portfolio is almost unthinkable outside of a Great Depression scenario. What about the business itself? Fannie and Freddie aren't banks. They don't take deposits or do complex trading. They bundle and guarantee mortgages. Only plain conforming loans. The relatively safe kind. Think 30-year fixed loans to borrowers with solid credit on homes below a certain price. They're like an insurance company for mortgages, collecting a small fee in exchange for covering any defaults. That guarantee fee, about 0.65% a year on $7 trillion of mortgages, gives them an enormous revenue stream. Do the math. 0.65% of $7 trillion is over $45 billion per year. Their overhead isn't huge, and their loan defaults are historically low, so much of that flows through as profit. In 2023, Fannie Mae earned $17.4 billion, and Freddie Mac made $10.5 billion. Together, that's roughly $28 billion in annual profit, even while they're caged. Now here's the kicker. In the public markets, the combined value of all Fannie and Freddie common stock is only about $17 billion at recent prices. You heard that right. $28 billion in yearly earnings versus a $17 billion market cap. That's a trailing PE ratio well below 1. It's like paying 80 cents to buy a company that earns $1 every year. How is that possible? Because as long as they're in conservatorship, those earnings don't go to shareholders. They go toward building capital for Uncle Sam's benefit. The market is basically betting that if the government never lets these companies out, the common stock could be worthless. But if Ackman is right and a release is coming, that valuation gap is absurd. Even a conservative valuation of 10 times earnings would imply nearly a $300 billion value. Some analysts think a fully privatized Fannie Freddie could be worth $400 to $500 billion combined. And remember, Treasury holds 80% of the common. That's the windfall Ackman is talking about. For remaining investors, it suggests the current share price could potentially multiply many times over in a privatization scenario. No wonder Bill Ackman has accumulated a big position and hung on for a decade. This is a classic case of the market pricing in a worst-case scenario while Ackman is betting on a return to normalcy. Now, we should be clear. This trade is not without risks. The biggest risk is political. Fannie and Freddie reform is the third rail of housing policy. It has died in Congress multiple times since 2010. There's no guarantee the Treasury can just flip a switch and do this alone. Some parts of the process could require legislation or could be challenged in court. Ackman himself recently noted that a straight-out IPO isn't feasible right now. The process might have to be more gradual, like relisting the existing stock on the NYSE instead of an immediate massive share offering. And timeline matters. If it drags too long, political winds could shift again. There's also the question of the economy. If a recession hits the housing market hard before they're released, politicians might get cold feet again. But a housing downturn could also spur the government to act faster. Because if Fannie and Freddie remain stuck, taxpayers are on the hook for any losses. Privatizing them would transfer some risk to private investors. For everyday investors watching this, the opportunity is tantalizing but speculative. You could buy Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac stock today on the off chance that Ackman's right and they skyrocket after privatization. Some big funds have done just that, treating it like a long-dated option. But be aware, these stocks are volatile and have been political footballs for years. One tweet from a policymaker could send them jumping or diving double digits in a day. If you're a homeowner or a home buyer, you also have a stake in this drama. A smoothly executed transition could actually improve the mortgage system, perhaps even lower fees over time through competition or efficiency. A bungled one could tighten credit or nudge mortgage rates up. That's why it's so important that, as Ackman said, they come out in a way that protects the 30-year mortgage. What Ackman is really highlighting is how crises can create opportunities. The U.S. debt problem is daunting. Over $36 trillion and climbing, with interest costs now above $1 trillion a year. Politicians have few palatable options. One of them is selling the family silver. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac represent perhaps the shiniest silverware in the cabinet. Systematically important, yes, but also valuable and, after a decade of rehabilitation, ready to be cut loose. It's ironic. In 2008, taxpayers bailed out these companies. In 2024 and beyond, it might be these companies bailing out the taxpayer. The villains become the heroes. We started with a question. How do you solve a $36 trillion problem? Ackman's answer? You cash in your hidden assets and let the market shoulder the load. And right now, that asset is two giant mortgage machines primed to be set free. The lesson is bigger than just Fannie and Freddie. It's about seeing the whole chessboard, assets and liabilities. As investors, if you can spot what a desperate government has to do before it happens, you can position yourself on the winning side of that trade. Keep asking, what's hiding in plain sight? If you want to dive deeper into the risks to your wealth of America's looming debt crisis, check out this video where Warren Buffett lays out the cold, hard truth. I will see you over there.